I am delighted to have in the studio with me Tim England, who's... where's all your post-nominals? They're not on here, man.
Oh, yes, they are.
They're on the back, are they?
There's a few on the back, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dementia specialist. Yeah. So we will be having a quite a chat with Tim. I'm going to have to answer that call. No, I'm not. I'm just going to leave it off there. So you go. Now, Tim is known as a dementia champion. He's been into this radio station several times.
Indeed.
Several times, not only with me, but with Sally Shepherd as well.
Sally.
With Sal. And Tim, huge congratulations to him because he has just obtained his Masters degree. You don't look any different, but that's a huge achievement, mate, doing a Masters.
Yes, I don't look any different, but trust me, a fair bit of stress, fair bit of worry, fair bit of a lot of hard work, and the colleagues who have also have done it with me and are going to
There's only two
me.
of you in the world, isn't there?
At this moment, yes, there is. However, with luck, this semester's just finished. There may be 3 more graduating later this year with this same degree, which would be fantastic.
Right. Is their history the same as yours?
You mean checkered? With some of them, it's similar. Some it's totally different. My path has been quite unique compared to most, just because the way I went about it. But everyone who has entered into the Masters have come in from a very strong interest in the subject of dementia.
Oh, okay.
And on a very serious level, all joking aside. Mine is very much on the education awareness background,
right.
Where others, there's one gentleman who's an architect who's actually doing the program right now, and his focus is if he believes if he's going to be involved in building dementia-friendly communities from a structural viewpoint.
Wow!
He really needs to understand.
Never thought of that.
He really needs to understand
designing
from
residences and things.
From that perspective. So you got to applaud him for doing that. There's another lady who's doing it from a lifestyle perspective, as in her background is lifestyle education and applying lifestyle techniques in the community. So dementia is very much in there.
Right.
Another lady that I know who is doing it from, she's involved overseas in Adult Protection Agency. So she's using the knowledge in there to booster her resolve and her ability. So it's really wide and varied. Everyone's coming from an allied health professional background generally. Some aren't, but they've all got a very strong interest in the subject of dementia, and they're not looking from a cure perspective, but it's more like from a social, a psychosocial perspective. You know, what can they do to change?
Love it when you use these big words.
I've practiced. I really have practiced. I've got it written down in front of me.
Psychosocial. I love that. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But mainly, look, there's basically 2 models of dementia care. There's the traditional medical model, which works really, really well to a point. You know, that's treating the condition purely from a medical perspective. You know, like you treat any other kind of ailment.
Right.
That'll only go so far. You've also got to look at the person. You got to look at the psychosocial side, that person-centered care philosophy, and really embracing that, because there's only so much you can do with the condition regarding treating the underlying pathology, but there's a hell of a lot you can do regarding supporting the person in reablement, rehabilitation. There's lots of things you can do to give them a much better quality of life, and not just for them, but also for their family caregivers and their family around them. So that's what we are really focusing on from our end, is how can we support the community, how can we support the individual, and how can we support the families to have a better quality of life and extend their quality of life.
Right, I understand. We should give a shout out to some people. Bettina.
Yes.
Where's Bettina? Sunshine Coast.
No, she's in Colorado.
Oh, Colorado.
She's an Australian who's married an American, and she works and lives in Colorado.
I want Bettina to ring me and say water. And also, someone's in Queensland that we know as well. Sarah Kay. Sarah Kay.
If she's listening right now, she'll be whooping and jumping up and down because her name's been mentioned.
Sarah Kay.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll mention it a couple of times
for the fun of it.
And then there is listening in Tasmania, or the University of Tasmania, Professor James Vickers.
Yes.
Was he always going to be your tutor, your professor?
James Vickers he's the reason this whole thing happened. Him and his team put this whole dementia education program across the board for the public from the very, very beginning.
Was it his idea in the first place?
Another gentleman called James Robertson, I think the name is. I could be wrong, but they created this back in 2008, and with their efforts, because there was nothing in place, they've created a suite of education programs for the public to increase the awareness of education or awareness of dementia. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be sitting here. Right. All these degrees wouldn't be in place, and the education would not be as sophisticated as it is.
I guess, my friend, it's a little bit like when you, going back to school days, when you end up being quite proficient at certain sports, and you put that down to the teachers that you had, to say, well, let's make you a softball or a baseball or a soccer player or whatever. And it's that teacher that inspires you. So are you saying that but for James Vickers and others there in Tasmania, that it would never have gotten off the ground?
Correct.
Okay. Take us all the way back to when you first thought, I want to get into dementia. I want to do it.
Okay, let's go back.
What age were you at that time?
Let's go back in the Wayback Machine, and this is in 2010. I had given up the corporate world as a career. I want to go to a different direction. I just got tired of it.
What was your career previously?
I was very much in telcos and
what, sales for them?
Sales training, sales education. Talking to the Optuses, the Telstras, and so forth. Very good. I enjoyed it. Good positions, good career. But after a while, after a couple of decades, it's like, don't want to do this anymore.
I'm here. I'm getting up every morning.
I just
same
don't want
bus. Where's my seat in the train or whatever? And
there's also I didn't realise at the time, but it had an influence. There was a personal issue with a family member who had a terminal condition, a brain cancer, and I was involved with other family members in his care, and that just changed my view, as in what. It
sounds like it brought you up with a start, and you thought, "Hey, I don't know anything about this."
Well, this in 2006 and 2007. Like, is this what aged care is about? It didn't cause a change, but obviously it planted a seed.
Right.
So in 2010, it was like, look, I want to look at something
12 years ago. Yeah.
My wife tapped me on the shoulder, basically said, "Why don't you go into care work, community care work? You're good at it." I go, "No, I have no patience for this. I've got no time. I don't know what to do." But
gosh, this is very similar to me. I worked for insurance companies all most of my life, and then the position was made redundant, and they sent me to an outplacement agency. And I was sitting in this room with about 6 other people in this outplacement agency, and this woman next to me was the designer for Reader's Digest, and she said, "Geoff, you've got a nice voice. Why don't you get on the radio?" And I said, "What?
You have got a good voice for radio."
Come on, I'm not looking for those, mate. But I thought it was just one of those things that had never occurred to me in my whole life.
Look, this never occurred to me. If someone asked me when I was in my 20s or 30s, this is what I'd be doing in the future, I would go, "What? You're kidding." But it all changed in 2010. I joined an organisation as a community care worker, and they took me on with no experience, and did some training, got my Cert 3s in the area. Like Cert 3s in those days was known as Cert 3 in community care and Cert 3 in aged care. It's now been changed now to a Cert 3 in individual support. Different name, same programs.
Was this going around and showering people? That's doing
everything.
Everything.
Basically doing a care facility role, but out in the community. And the whole goal is to keep people in the community for as long as possible. It's better for them. It's better for their health. It's better for their personal life. It's better for their well-being, for them and the family. And so, and look, everybody we're all aging. Where do you want to age, Geoff? You want to age maybe in the studio, I don't know about you. But do you want to age? My
happy place.
Yeah, your happy place. But do you want to age in a care facility or at your own home? If you want to be in your own home, it's better for you. Okay, it's better for your spiritual well-being. So
it was you years ago, Tim England, who inspired me to contact My Aged Care.
Oh, did I now?
Yes, you did.
Okay, sorry about that.
And the whole genesis for that was allowing people to stay in their homes without being occupying care thing.
Correct.
And it's been fabulous for us.
It is. Yeah, it is.
I'm showing my age now, dear
That's
listener.
okay, not a problem. so that started that ball rolling, and during that, I started to meet clientels who had a level of dementia and their families, and for some really strange reason, I was able to cut through that communication fog that's around a person who has dementia and just connect with that person again. I don't know if it's from my sales background or my training background, but I was able to do that. And I was also able to help support and teach their families more about it. So then I need more information. So I started doing some training. I did some courses through Dementia Australia. I started doing some more programs. And in 2013, a thing called MOOC came along. MOOC, which stands for Massive Open Online Courses by the University of Tasmania.
Right.
And it was the first one.
Were they, up until then, were they very well known for that? I mean,
I did not.
Or is there any other tertiary institution in Australia that does the same?
Look, there's lots of tertiary. There's lots of programs around, but this was the first really structured one to a point where it's called Understanding Dementia, and it breaks the program. It's all done online.
Right.
It's about 3 hours a week.
Was James Vickers involved in it?
He created all this. He created the whole thing, and that was in August 2013.
Right.
I did the course. It took about 7 weeks, and it breaks the whole program down to one component module is on the brain, how the brain works, which is fascinating in its own right. Then on the dementias and the pathologies behind them, and then on the person, and then it links all three together. So people walked away with a really good fundamental understanding of what dementias really were, how it impacts the person, and what we as a community and individual can support those individuals with the condition.
Understand.
And that started the ball rolling. And then directly after that, they made available that there's also now a bachelor's degree program available. And I kind of went, well,
I've got these Cert 3s. I'm going to go and do this.
I thought I would apply for the scholarship, and I got it. And it's really designed for people at my level, at a care worker level. Went, okay, fine, so I joined that. And me, not understanding university, I didn't know you could not do 4 units at once and work full-time at once. I didn't know you couldn't do that. So I did. So I did that for the first semester and went, yeah, that was pretty heavy, but it got the ball rolling, and I just kept doing it full time and working full time.
Right.
And I knocked the whole degree off in the 3 years. So by 2016, I had graduated with the Bachelor of Dementia Care.
Right. Were there a lot of lessons on campus in Tasmania?
All it was online.
Everything was online.
All online, called a platform called Milo.
So okay. Yeah, where was your graduation ceremony?
There was no way I was not going down to Tasmania. And in December 2016, I went down there, walked across the stage, and they actually, and this is going to sound crazy, they actually have a street parade in Hobart.
Down Elizabeth Street?
They start down from the Maritime.
Oh yes,
and go all through the street and all along through the boardwalk where the
yachts come in.
Where yachts come in, yeah. So they only do for 1 day a year. That was the day, and they block off the streets, and everyone who's graduating that day walks through the streets. You got a brass band, you got police escort, you got people cheering the street. It's crazy.
And were the streets lined?
Yes, lined with people. It's
fabulous.
Mad. Yeah,
fabulous.
Because the town sees it as a really big asset. They've got that university education there, and obviously the finances that brings in to the town. Let's be blunt.
Sure.
But so that was in December 2016.
Right. Just to stop for a sec, mate. Is the course, or was the course way back then in 2013 and 2016? Was it attractive enough for overseas students to come in and do it as well?
Yes, because it is online, they do attract overseas students to do it.
So they get some sort of financing out of that, I imagine. Okay.
Yeah. So 2016, I graduated. 2017, I left the community care work and thought, okay, now I've got to apply this knowledge and my skill sets in the community. So I started doing a lot of contract work that freed up my time. So then I could start doing education workshops in the community. That's where you and I first met years ago, raising the awareness in our local community, and things just mushroomed on from there.
There's going to be lots of questions. This is the sort of thing that I'm going to ask on behalf of our 110,000 listeners.
Please do.
Is there a difference between dementia and Alzheimer's?
One of the most common questions I get asked, and the answer is yes. The best way to describe it is dementia is the umbrella term for the entire condition. Alzheimer's is one of the diseases that will cause the dementia condition. Think about it this way. When you hear the word cancer, it's not describing a cancer. Cancer is like a broad term. Okay, so if you hear a friend or relative with, oh, they've got cancer, you're thinking, what type? Is it breast?
Instantly.
Is it yeah.
Prostate, whatever.
Yeah, what is it? When you hear dementia, people think it's one thing. Dementia is the condition, Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body dementia, vascular dementia, frontotemporal dementia, Hutchinson's disease, Parkinson's disease, all these other diseases can cause a dementia condition.
Okay.
Alzheimer's just happens to be the most common. 60, 70% of cases have an Alzheimer's component to it, but Alzheimer's is a disease that will cause a dementia condition.
I remember when you first came in and Sally and I were talking to you about this particular thing and how the difference that music makes to patients,
absolutely.
How they might have forgotten who their son or daughter is, yet they easily recognise a particular song. True?
Yeah, true, because it's like us right now. You can play a track right now and it instantly links us back to a feeling of a memory when we experienced it years ago.
Sure.
And we can remember. We may not have heard the song or the tune for years, but when we hear it, bang, we're there.
It's there. Okay. Mate, is there such a thing as juvenile dementia? Or, I mean, tell me, expanding on from that, is there generally the lowest age at which it could be acquired?
Okay, it's best way to look at it this way. There's 2 to 3 groups. The main group is those over the age of 65. That's late onset dementia. That's the most common. That's the most number of cases.
And that's called late onset dementia.
Okay. Yeah. So anything 65 years of age onwards is the demarcation line.
Right.
If someone is diagnosed with dementia under the age of 65, we call that young onset dementia. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So people in their early 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s can develop dementia symptoms and or have the pathology that will create the dementia.
Right.
It's not a new thing, but it's beginning to get a little bit of media attention, which is good. There's been some shows on 60 Minutes and on Current Affairs and a few others. It's called 2 words that should never be heard together. Childhood dementia. It is a thing.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is. It is. It has the same similar symptoms to dementias as we know, but it's caused by more genetic disease. Research is still quite scant compared to others. They believe there's about 70 diseases that will cause. They're very rare diseases. There's only probably about less than 3,000 cases of this in Australia, but that's 3,000 families that are dealing with this event of a child under the age of 18 that's going to develop dementia.
Wow, okay.
It's a thing.
About juvenile dementia, can you just sort of finish off on that? Because with lots of other things that we need to cover too.
Yeah, look, it's not a new thing, but fortunately it's getting more, as I mentioned to you before, media awareness.
You're going to lead up now to talking about media hype, aren't you?
No, it's not hype at all.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a group of families have formed an organisation together called the Childhood Dementia Initiative, based on the North Shore.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And what they're trying to do is raise awareness. They've got some funding to help with research, but mainly to start getting a media presence so people start to understand. We'll at least start to talk about this and start recognising it, so that then it will start getting a bit more funding for more research.
Do you know whereabouts on the North Shore?
I believe they're around the Brookvale area.
Oh, okay.
I've only recently discovered them. We've only recently got in contact with each other. I've offered my support, my services in any way I can with supporting their families. We're still talking about what we can do, what my associates can do. So we're still looking at that.
Okay.
If they want to
wheel them in, bring them in here.
Well, look, I will definitely make an introduction for you, and I'm sure Gail and Megan would love to take advantage, because anything to raise the awareness. And the main thing is that the families have put this together. These are families of people with the childhood
So
dementia.
they have a personal involvement.
They are living it every single day.
Understand.
So they've got a very personal interest
Right.
to get the research, get more awareness, and for people to start talking about this, because
Right.
it's something that needs to be talked about.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Now, tell me about, I understand that you're somehow or other involved in a documentary.
Yes, I am.
Says here with a huge grin on his face.
No, it's not a huge grin on my face.
I know you too well, Tim England.
Okay. It was. I've known about this for a while. I was contacted a number of years ago through by a lovely lady called Renee Brack. Yes, Renee, I know you're not listening right now, but
Right.
you'll hear this later.
Yeah.
She is a brilliant documentary filmmaker. She's the writer, producer and director of this documentary. It's called Ticketyboo, A Secret in Plain Sight.
Ticketyboo, A Secret in Plain Sight.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Okay.
Yep.
It's been a project of love. It's a warts and all story. It's a personal story about her journey she went through with her father with dementia, and how she feels she was a bad daughter in supporting him. It's a real raw story. There's some.
So she's got feelings of guilt about this.
That was how it all came about, or part of it. And she reached out to me some years ago through LinkedIn. She'd heard about some of the work I'd done.
Yeah.
We connected, we chatted. She let me know what her project was. And after our second meeting, I just said, yes, I'm in. Whatever the project is, I'm in. Whatever way I can do. And lo and behold, it involved, she's making a documentary. And it's a
She
lengthy...
got funding? Or?
She's doing it's a shoestring budget. It really is. And through, I think it's...
It's called a mobile phone.
Yes. Documentaries Australia's Documentaries, I'm trying to remember the right name. They've helped fund, and a bit of crowdfunding and all this type of thing, and donation, and people just helping out. And it's now an 82-minute documentary. It's going to be launched at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival on the 30th of July this year. Yes, I'll be going down there for the launch, as well as other people who've been interviewed, like Ida Buttrose. She's part of the interview team. We're going to have a Q&A panel as well. But the main thing what I want to promote about it is this documentary is going to change the conversation of dementia in this country, if not globally as well.
Right.
It's I will send you later they've just released the trailer,
Right.
and one part I can share with you is Renee goes through the whole challenge of finding out, has she got the precursor of developing Alzheimer's from her family. So she goes through the whole thing.
What do you mean, the pathology?
She goes through the whole testing of brain scans, blood tests, even spinal taps.
Wow.
And she films it all. So it's raw and all, and to show you, she wants to tell the story.
Right.
What it's like, okay, and she reveals through the documentary what the outcome is, but she's also interviewing a lot of people like myself and others involved in dementia care, as in, what's the current situation, what's the current knowledge, and what's the future, and what can we do to benefit and help people in the future as well. So it's a wonderful documentary. I'm very proud that I was actually invited to be part of it, and anything we can do to get the word out there, I'm going to bang the drum.
And you were interviewed on camera?
It was a very weird experience. I've never been interviewed on camera. I've got a great head for radio. And we're in this little studio. And the wonderful thing about it, there was about 8 people in this studio. It was darkened. There's about 5-6 cameras. And after about 2 or 3 minutes, due to Renee interviewing me, I completely forgot the people around me. And we just, like what you and I do, we just talked.
As mates.
We just talked.
Yeah.
And it was there for about an hour, and I revealed, we just talked.
Right.
I don't know exactly how she's cut things up, but I've been led to believe that the stuff that she's got there with me will hopefully help other people in the future with the journey they're going through and for their loved ones. So if it does that, I can go to my whoever my God
Your
is,
maker.
my make in complete peace.
I understand. Tim, we're going through, my guest at the moment, dear listener, is Tim England. We've known each other for some years, and Tim has just successfully obtained his Masters in Dementia. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Masters of Dementia, yes. Okay. Masters of Dementia.
And we're promised not to say anything about going on and doing a PhD.
No.
Have we? No.
No, because...
Is your wife listening now?
Oh, she said she would be. And darling, no, for the record, I'm not going for my PhD.
He's got this look about his face.
I wish to stay married.
If you, I'm not going to push you on that, mate. But if you went down that path, how much time would be involved?
3 to 6 years.
For such a young guy as you, that's nothing.
Yeah, I know. I'll get my wheelchairs parked at the back.
Tell me when you're addressing a group of people, or just having a general conversation, what are some of the typical questions that people come up to you and ask when they hear the word dementia? Do they say, "Have I got it, Tim?"
That is usually one. Or how do I know I've got it? I forget my car keys, or I forget the names of people, and I go, "Don't worry, everybody forgets car keys. Everybody forgets names of people. I'm always losing my car keys." One time, months ago, my wife actually found my car keys in the bathroom. What they're doing in there, I had no idea, but that's where I left them. Okay. One day, seriously, I left my car keys in a pair of shoes.
Is that right?
Because what happened, I was downstairs in the garage. I had my Wellington. I changed into some Wellington boots. I had the keys, and I just put them in my other shoes. And then when I came upstairs, I took the Wellington boots off, and I said, "I'm not going to put my shoes back on." I walked up with them, put them in the wardrobe, forgetting I had keys in there. And for days, we couldn't find my keys. I don't have dementia. I just did something stupid. Okay, I just put the keys in the wrong place. So it's not a case of people...
So just because people forget things does not mean you therefore have got dementia.
No, not at all. It's because, think about we think about a lot of things. We live busy lives. It can get kind of confusing sometimes. We just forget things. Right. But this is the key. This is the caveat. It's okay for you to forget your keys and then find them later and find them, great.
Yep.
The difference is if you find your car keys and you don't know what to do with them.
Okay.
Okay, that's the look. So what we look at from a professional perspective is not if there's memory loss or people forgetting things or there's a personality change. Or names,
faces.
What we're more looking at is how is that change impacting their health, safety and well-being.
Right.
That's, like if you have trouble finding your car keys, big deal. But if you have trouble understanding what the keys are used for and driving, that's a different impact. Okay. So what we have to look at, as well as many things, and it's not just one thing, it's a whole combination, is how are these changes that happen to the person due to some brain chemical change is impacting their health, safety and well-being. That's the bigger question.
So it's not dementia. Okay, there you go, dear listener. It's not dementia, and a number of people who will be listening right now, it is not dementia. You've just simply forgotten something.
We forget things.
Who is it that can make a diagnosis of dementia? Is it a GP or is it a specialist?
It has to be a specialist. Okay,
neurologist or
it can. Your GP is your best contact point to start with because they know your medical history, and they will lead you on to, and they will try to rule out other things that could be causing your concern. Like there could be other things that could be causing some symptoms of a dementia, like there could be a delirium, you could have a reaction to medication, you could be dehydrated, you could be lack of sleep, stress. I
hadn't told you that's exactly what happened when I was in North Shore for that period. I just stood on top of the bed one morning and I said to everyone in a loud voice, I was in ICU, get me the police, get them, I want them right here, I want them coming now. And it was explained to me later, it was simply a delirium because of the medications.
Exactly. So the GP are going to be, they want to rule out things that it's not.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Once they've ruled that out, then they'll put you forward to a specialist. It could be a clinical psychologist or a neuroscientist or a ologist of some description.
Sure.
Okay.
Psychiatrist.
Can be a psychiatrist as well.
Yep.
But they'll go through a battery of tests and screenings to try to rule out again what other things could be causing the concerns. And it's a process of elimination, as with all diagnoses is, to find out what's not causing this, to identify what probably is the cause.
Understand.
And it's they who will make and they'll do it in consultation with the individual and the family as well. The family needs to really be involved because they are a best indicator if things have changed in recent time for that particular loved one.
Especially if they don't see you every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. And quite often when we go see a GP, if we're worried about something like that, we put on our best behaviour.
Sure.
And they see us on a good day, not necessarily a bad day or vice versa.
Sort of thinking, I'm going to get the really good reading for my blood pressure today.
So I'm going to relax myself.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunately, it is a long process. It can take quite a while, unfortunately, to get a solid diagnosis.
Right.
And it's only a diagnosis, it's only an indicator, the only true absolute diagnosis we can do is post-mortem.
Okay.
That's the only true, doing
So what will show up in a PM?
Look, changes to the brain, physical changes to the brain,
okay.
chemical changes to the composition of neurons within the brain under a microscope.
Right.
Those kind of things are very hard to pick up through scans.
Yep.
There's a lot of advancement with screenings, and it is getting better, but it's still got a long way to go. There's no...
What, like an MRI or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. They can help to rule out certain things.
Yep.
I know one particular research group who are so close to a solid blood test.
Wow.
To identify if you've got the amyloid plaque in your blood. Abnormally, that may be a precursor to the pathology of Alzheimer's. When that happens, that's going to be a breakthrough. That's going to be a major breakthrough.
So you just trot along to normal Douglas Hanning
because at the moment, try to get that kind of biomarker, you usually have to do a spinal tap, which has its own risks.
Sure.
Sticking a needle in someone's spine. So,
sure. Okay. Yeah. Tell me about the Post newspaper.
Oh.
which we are affiliated with this radio station.
Look, it has been a crazy 12 months. I am now been graciously invited, and I humbly accept, to be a regular columnist in the Post. I do a section under the Dementia Champion. It's in the health and lifestyle section. Comes out each month, and I'm just talking and raising information about different aspects of dementia and lifestyle that may assist people in the public.
Okay, just listen to this.
Have you seen the Post out and about on your travels? The Post started in Hornsby and Ku-ring-gai and is now expanded to include the Willoughby local government area.
I'm not going to give you any more of that.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Yes, I'm very pleased that I was
So have you got to do something every month? Or?
Every month, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and look, we have a few ideas of what I'll be doing each month, but it also changes, like feedback we get. If there's a question that I'll get that will take me in a different direction, I'll go in that direction, because if that's what the public wants to hear.
Right.
It's not negative stuff, it's not always positive stuff, it's real life stuff.
Right.
Okay, so, and one thing I've learned over the years from doing workshops, the audience wants to hear the facts about this condition so they can make informed choices for their life.
Sure.
Yeah, so, that's what we do.
So have you got any anything coming up that members of the public could come along to, or not?
Not with workshops at the moment, because obviously when COVID came along, that kind of...
Oh, yeah, that hit you fairly hard, didn't it?
Yes, because you can imagine the audience we had were the older generations.
Yes.
Which, and in the early days of COVID, we just did not know what was going to happen, so everything was shut down, so we kept it that way. Yes, the restrictions are lifting, which may, as time goes on, we may start workshops again, but the word is called funding to be able to do these, which I don't have any, but we'll work on that. But in the interim...
So we need to put you in touch with certain members of Parliament.
Oh, that would help.
Okay.
That would help.
Okay.
But what we have done, or what I have done, I keep saying we, because I've got a group of associates that support me, if not emotionally, if anything else.
So you're not going on cruises every month?
No, not doing that.
Okay.
But what I have opened up is my own YouTube channel now.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us. Okay.
It's called Ask a Dementia Champion. It's just find that. Ask a
Dementia Champion.
Ask a Dementia Champion. And it's a series. I've only got a few videos on there at the moment, but they're all short, maybe 2-3 minutes. And they're talking about a specific thing, like what is Alzheimer's disease? What is Lewy body disease? What is frontotemporal? Very specific things. How to interact with someone you find in the street who could be lost and confused. Giving people tip points on what they can do if they do encounter someone who you think may be having showing symptoms of dementia.
An episode.
An episode. What you can do to help support them. So it's very short, specific things on one subject to help people understand, because we could talk for hours about the subject and specific things, but I want to make it so people can look at individual things that they want to get knowledge on.
I understand. I'm going to pause that right now, and I've finished talking with Tim England. I'm going to leave that for you, mate. I know you like that music. You're dancing on the desk, dear listener.
You're showing my age, because I remember this when it first came out. And if you're now talking that he's 78, I'm going, what happened?
Yeah, he is. When's his birthday? Today.
Yeah.
Boz Scaggs, born in 1944. Yeah. Okay, mate, tell us about the research centre?
Yes, the Wicking Dementia Research and Education Centre.
Wicking? Spell Wicking.
Wicking, Wicking.
Right.
It's after the name of the family that funds it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it is a fantastic research centre in dementia education and awareness and research. It's probably one of the top 10 research centres in the world in this particular area, in sunny old Hobart. They're very, very proud of that.
Yes.
Very dedicated team, and they are through James Vickers and his team. They've created all of these platforms, all of these education MOOCs. They've got understanding dementia, they've got preventing dementia, they've got one on traumatic brain injuries, which are all nice short courses that the general public can access free. Totally free.
How come?
Yes.
Because it's been financed.
It's been financed by the Wicking family.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. The Bachelor Dementia Care program, the first year is free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then to get to the diploma level, then if people want to go on to the associate degree, they pay 50% of the course fees. The receipts picked up by the Wicking Centre.
Wow.
And if they go on to the whole bachelor, do the final year, again, 50% of that course is covered by the Wicking Centre. So it's really encouraging people to get on board.
Sure.
When you move into the Masters, I'm sorry, that's full fee. You have to pay full fee for that one, okay? But that's fine because it's a different level. You are going in a different
I understand that, mate. I really understand that, Tim England. But the thing is, I mean, when you sat for your first, went to your first lecture or whatever it was when doing your Masters, it's still the same Tim England, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean you can charge any more if you whatever. Okay.
But what I get to is it's moving from a bachelor level up to the Masters level that I've done, it's a big jump. It's a massive jump. And you're asking before how other people's journey. My journey has been this. I've gone through all of the suite of programs that the Wicking Centre have on board to get to my Masters.
Okay.
Some just did the bachelor's beforehand, the Bachelor of Dementia Care, and then moved in. Some did not do any dementia-specific training of coming from either an occupational health perspective or a nursing perspective or a social worker perspective or, as I said, an architect. So some have come through the dementia area specific, but more and more for the Masters are coming from allied health backgrounds.
I understand.
And the reason... because of that, that's why they've actually broken the Masters up into 4 specific areas. There are 4 key areas that are mandatory to be studied. They are health and social care in dementia. That's one entire unit. Another unit is neurobiology of dementia, and that's heavy. If you don't like Latin, don't do it.
Oh, okay.
Because you're studying the brain, and you're getting and you've got some of the best neuro researchers doing the lectures and teaching you. So you walk away with your brain is expanded just from the knowledge you get. There's an area which is exciting as all get out: policy and systems in dementia. How government policy in healthcare is made.
Right.
And you can imagine that's exciting. Yay. But it's important because as masters of this program, we are going to be future policy actors or policy advisors to government and the council in creating dementia-friendly communities. So we're going to be actively involved with the policy construction. And the other exciting one is public health and dementia. Another exciting thing, but think about but when we started running that program, that's when COVID hit.
Oh,
so we very quickly.
So this is the first time it's been held. This program.
This is
COVID rears its ugly head.
Yeah, this is an inaugural program. It started in September 2019. So the 27 of us who joined, this was an inaugural program.
How many were there at the end?
2.
Okay, so 27 down to 2.
Yeah, not all 27. Not all 25 dropped out.
Right.
Okay, some went to the.
Might have thought this is not for me.
Went to the graduate certificate level. Went, that's enough.
Yep.
Okay, that's all they wanted. Some went on to the graduate diploma level, and us mad ones have gone on to the full masters. Now, as I said, probably 3 more at the end of this semester will be in a position to graduate, and maybe by the end of this year, maybe 2 more. But the beautiful thing is, the first semester this year, the enrolments for the 500 units, the entry level into the Masters, over 100 students have enrolled.
Wow.
Okay, so it is growing.
Thank you, Tim England, for coming in.
Thank you, Geoff.
It's supposed to be a quarter of an hour interview, but
Well, you
know me, get carried away.
Yeah, well, I don't stop you. I wouldn't know how if I tried.
But you will come back and see us sometime.
Look, absolutely, anytime.
We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And this year,
Just because you forget a name or where your car keys are does not mean that you have dementia.
Not at all. You're just being normal.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Geoff.
See you next time. Cheers.
Babies in the running around, playing with my heart, putting up business in the street and talking out loud, talking about this and that and all the money she spent. Lord, I swear she thinks it's all heaven sent. You better slow down.